Okay guys, welcome to Fleet 101. This is the November edition of Fleet 101. I haven't had one in a couple months, so I figured it was time. So in this class, we're going to talk about just typical things you're going to hear in a fleet, different terminology, jargon that can be confusing to a new bro. So hopefully after this class, you'll be ready to join a fleet. And if you are new, you're always welcome to bring tackle or E-War to any fleet, and we have those for free handouts at any time. Just ask in Dojo chat, and a lot of other people have access to the Dojo hangars that have free ships. So in a fleet, the number one important thing is getting in fleet. So you already found the fleet finder, which is the chevrons to the left. And then the first thing we're going to go over is the history window. This is where we can see commands that the fleet commander or FC is giving. So once you open the fleet window, you'll see my fleet if you're on our fleet, or you'll see the history and the fleet finder. We're going to focus on the history tab now. So on the filters, you're going to see that it's on the broadcast history. And this is where you can see broadcast similar to this. So Sendrago is broadcasting for Shield there. I'm broadcasting a target here. And you can also broadcast, the FC can broadcast aligns or tell you to warp to things. So this is the best way to keep up with communication, particularly when it can be hard to follow things that are rapidly changing. But if you're following the targets and you're in the DPS, which is the damaged ships, it's usually the fleet name of the ships. For instance, if we're in a hurricane fleet, then the hurricanes are the DPS ship. If you're in a harpy fleet, it's the harpies. Sometimes there's a cute name that's a little bit different, but it should be listed in the message of the day, what they're asking for, or you can say FC, what kind of ships do you want? So one thing, if you're on the video, you can see that I have my fleet broadcast history colored, and so I'm going to help you guys set that up. So go ahead and hit the hamburger menu on the top left of the fleet window, top left corner, and you're going to go to broadcast settings. And here you're going to want to have broadcast target, broadcast warp to, and align to, definitely those selected. And then if you go down to broadcast need shield, I like to put that as blue for shield. So then I fly logistics a lot. You'll be able to see that somebody is broadcasting for shield and it'll be colored. Broadcast target I have as red. So there's a little box to the right. You can hit that arrow, you can change the color. So I like that red. For need armor, if we're in an armor fleet, I do yellow. Capacitor is green. So if you're flying logistics, you might even turn off the broadcast target, which then hides it in the fleet window, so you can only focus on who needs reps. And vice versa, if you're in DPS, you might be able to broadcast. You could turn off need shield, but I leave it on because then you can see that you have, in fact, broadcasts. That gets us to if you are getting targeted, which is yellow boxed, which we'll do on a gate in a little bit. But if you need to broadcast for shield, you want to press, there's little down arrows at the bottom of the fleet window, or little chevron, bottom right hand corner. Click that down. Then it'll have little icons. You can find the shield icon, the broadcast need shield. So everybody go ahead and do that. So this is something you definitely want to set up a key shortcut for. I have mine set to tilde. And you'll want to do that later. We're not going to walk through. But now that you know where the button is, that's the most important thing. You can also broadcast for armor and capacitor, which I had those turned off so you can't see them. And some people if you're at full shield or full capacitor, you can broadcast in position, but that's not used all that much. Okay, so any questions on broadcasting? So let's go ahead and see if everyone can follow some broadcasts. So I'm going to say broadcast, I'm going to say align here. So then everyone should align to the broadcast. It should bring up, the align should pop to the top of your overview. I'm on the combat tab here if you have the ZS overview. And it goes to the top, but you also right-click on line 2 from the broadcast history window. So it's important that everyone aligns together because then it'll mean we warp together. So I can fleet warp us, and if everyone's aligned, we will go together. See, that's beautiful. We all ball up, we all land at the same time. So we had one late cormorant. So, and another frigate. So it's important that we all align together because then we can land together and there's not stragglers left behind and we don't slowly dribble into the fight. And another thing about aligning is it depends on your maximum speed. So you can insta warp at 75% of your speed. So if you have your micro warp drive on or afterburner on, then you would actually align slower. So if an FC says you need to align over here, then you need to align immediately. And if it doesn't say it, you should turn off your prop mod. So everybody align, align, align. They might give you a countdown like 3, 2, 1. So we got about half the fleet aligned there. So particularly in small ship fleets like Tau Wars or Cormorants, it's important. There might be a lot of repositioning, so it's very important to be on the ball for aligning, because we might try to stay at our optimal range, try to stay out of range of the enemy. All right, the FC might give you a warp 2 point, and let's see, where do I want to go? So I'm going to say, everybody, go ahead and warp yourself to 0 at YHN. So when you're traveling, the FC might not warp everybody. He might ask you to warp yourself. When we get to a gate, the FC might say the gate is red, which means you do not jump. Don't say the jump is the J word. So if at all possible, don't ask about jumping or say it in comms, because then people might think you're the FC and they'll go ahead and jump through. Then the fleet will be split, which would be unfortunate. So the FC would then say, go ahead and jump, 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 or the gate is green. Once you come to the other side, don't break your cloak. So we have a 1-minute timer for cloak here. The FC might want to use that time to gather his thoughts or look at the enemy on the other side. So hold your cloak unless you're told to break it. And if you're told to break the cloak, double click in space. If you're given a line like this, go ahead and make that a line. I'll give 3, 2, 1. So particularly when we're traveling in fast things, it's important to stay with the fleet with warps, because if I say jump on land or jump, 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 then it can quickly add up. If you're missing that align, you'll get a gate behind, and then you'll miss fleet warps. So this one I'll give a quick one to show how that can happen. So everybody align here, align, align, align. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. Did I warp myself?
No, you won't. So you won't fleet.
I do not have
I aligned first. Well, the FC could warp themselves, and then they'll say you have to warp yourself to the gate.
And you say bingo.
I think there was some confusion. Half of us thought you didn't actually want us to jump, so we were still in YHM.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, sometimes you're saying the FC might say, and then you're executing the command, as opposed to saying, the example and then saying, all right, now let's go ahead and do what I just described.
All right. This is why I don't FC. This is why I teach classes. It's like, if you can't do something, you teach it. All right, so everybody get to the 3-TAC-0 gate. And we're going to hold here. Go ahead and orbit the gate. So if we are holding, you might be asked to orbit at 1000.
friends, Protect OK is in 3GD, so if you haven't, please jump through.
Yes. If you're not in 3GD, please exit fleet. We'll wait for you.
Missing 2.
All right. I want everyone to go ahead and anchor up on me. So what that means is you want to select me and keep it range 1000. So me is Jinx. I should be saying my name. You can add me to Watchlist.
That might be a good thing to explain, how to add people to watch lists.
Yeah. So go ahead and right-click on Jinx here. I'm going to right-click on Giorn Fleet, and you hit Add to Watchlist. So it's good to have the FC on the watchlist. If you, there might be a secondary FC, and you could add them too. Like if Captain Cash was FC, you can also color code this by hitting the hamburger menu on the top left. You can say enter color edit mode, and then on the right hand, there's a little color edit. I like to put the FC white just to make it clear.
A good trick after you have added the FC to the watch list. If you want to add anybody else that's in local, you just drag and drop their name into the watch list.
Yeah, I'll show it here.
Oh, wow.
You can do that from the fleet window too.
Yes.
I never know that. So,
This is why you're here.
I know that.
All right, so while you're anchoring, so everybody, you're keeping range 1000 on Jinx. And if you fall behind, you can go ahead and do one cycle of your prop mod to try to catch up. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to turn your prop mods on. So the reason that we anchor is that we want to stay all balled up together so we all have the same range of our guns. The logistics, the healers can all reach us, and then the FC can take advantage of the fleet's comp that way to we're all firing at the same range, we're all doing the same amount of damage in terms of our optimals. That makes it easier on the FC than if everyone has to fly their own ship. It's kind of how big fleet combat is done out here in nullsec. All right, so we're gonna burn straight down here. See, the Reverend Arts he's 100 kilometers off.
Unfortunately, I fit dual plate, so I do like a third of the speed of you guys.
Yep. All right. So if we want to go back to gate, we can, now that we're 150 kilometers, we can go ahead and warp yourself to gate. If you're not 150 kilometers, then go to a tactical up, or you can go ahead and warp yourself to the Reverend Arts. You can right click on fleet member, right click pilot warp to member, fleet warp to member. You can warp up to him and then warp back down to the gate.
Do you want to check that people know how to use Cloak tags when they have them turned on?
So you're saying the bookmarks?
Yeah, make sure people have got them in space so they can see them.
So over the capacitor, if you hover right just over your shield, you can have the corporate bookmarks or personal bookmarks. Has the sensor overlay. Make sure it's on first of all. So there's off. Now it's on. Then you can turn on and off corporate bookmarks and your personal bookmarks.
Most of the gates in Catch have those corporate tags on them, so you should never really be short of somewhere to go.
Whoa, that was super useful. Holy crap.
You'll regret that when you go to Station Grid in GE, but...
All right, so let's everybody go ahead and jump through 3 Tech O.
Vader, have you entered warp to the gate, or are you approaching?
Yeah, I'm warping now.
Good stuff.
I had a little lag out.
Okay, we're going to do a nice long align to GEAGV. So one thing you'll notice is, except for I didn't do it for GE, is in we usually say the tack, the dash as a tack. That can be kind of confusing if you haven't heard that term before. So this would be GE tack or 3 TAC O. The FC usually will use the first 3 letters of a system name or link it in fleet. Or sometimes, like, oh shit, it looks like a word, so they'll actually just say it.
Unless it's MY tech, in which case it's just my wife.
That's right. I want everybody to go ahead and set destination to UTEC-Q. I'll go ahead and drag that in fleet. So from the fleet window, fleet chat, you can hit right click, set destination on UTEC-Q. It'll come up on your autopilot route. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to free burn into the Victor Tech 3 gate. So you're going to jump through. What free burn means is you're going to warp yourself, and you're also going to jump yourself through until the gate that the FC asks you to hold on. So I'm asking you to hold on the Victor Tech 3 gate in GEHEV. So free burning is usually used on the way back from fleets, or if we have a particularly long way to go. Rev pointed out that you can prefer shorter by clicking the A next to the route. So we do that here, prefer shorter. So I'm going to ask somebody to go ahead and +1 for me. What that means is be a scout.
I can do that. I'm on the gate now.
Who's I?
Naka. So Naka Utama.
All right, so you, Narca, go ahead and jump through into Victor Tech 3 and give me a Dscan on the other side. So Dscan is an intelligence tool that you can use, and I'll show it here. So it's Alt-D or... I need 1 second.
You could do pretty much an entire class by Dscan.
Yeah.
We have in the past, yeah. It's
But
very
it's
useful.
broken. But at the moment, Dscan is broken, I believe. Dscan.me.
Excuse me. All right, so back to Dscan. So we can go ahead and hit Alt-D, have our Dscan up, and you can Control A.
Right. So, jumped in. There's 0 neutrals in local. And everything else is blue. +9 in local.
All right, go ahead and try to give me a Dscan. So you can, on your Dscan, you can select all, and then you can paste this into this website, dscan.me.
We believe Dscan.me may
It's
not be
broken.
working right now.
Oh, it's not working right now.
An error has occurred. An error occurred when I didn't
All right, so we're
understand.
using
Yeah.
collab Eve Overmind that Rev
Right.
gave it. So you can copy paste it in there, and then it'll give you a unique link that you can put back into
Do that way.
fleet chat. So that would give, if there was a fleet on the other side, that would give the FC some information about what's within 14 AU. And for filters on the right, you want to be in PVB. I have the PVX basic up right now. If you're in GEHAV, go ahead and jump through to Victor Tech 3.
I'll let someone else scan the next one. Maybe a new boat, perhaps.
And I did the terrible thing that now I'm auto-snapping to whatever I select in my overview. I forget how to turn that off.
Shift and C is default anyway.
Thank you, sir. All right, everybody go ahead and align to Bravo Tech 3. Sometimes there's a gate camp on the other side of this. So right now the coalition is staged in UTEC-Q. So we're going there, but you need to be careful about moving ships by yourself because of this gate camp that could be on the other side of Bravo Tech 3. So this is a good thing to ask about and catch comms if you are moving something yourself. All right, we're going to warp in 3, 2, 1. And FC was not aligned.
FC bingo.
All right, when we get to Bravo Tech 3, I want everybody to go ahead and starburst off the gate. And if you're in frigates with a fleet and you're asked to starburst, what that means is you want to go ahead and pick a random direction, turn your prop mod on, and you're trying to burn tacticals to like 150 kilometers off the gate so that we could warp to each other. The fleet would be able to warp to you. So everybody should be picking a random direction and flying your own ship more than 150 kilometers from the gate. So if we were in a hurricane fleet and we were flying around in frigates and we flew off 150 kilometers, we would be a warp-in point for the FC to use if they would need to warp out at any time, or if they just wanted to reposition. So once you're more than 150 kilometers from the gate, go ahead and make yourself a tactical bookmark. You can do that doing Control B. I named mine TAC B3 gate. And particularly around our home systems, having lots of tacticals around will help you in fights around our home base. After that, go ahead and warp yourself to gate. Again, turn off your prop mod to make sure that you align and warp faster. Gate is green on land. All right, if we had drones, when you're asked to align and you're not told, you should be pulling your drones, or hopefully the FC reminds you to pull your drones. If you warp off without your drones, you're probably not going to get to go back and get them. Everybody align to UTAC Q. I'm going to give it a nice long align here. Let's see if we can get a perfect warp. 3, 2, 1. We left a couple behind.
I was playing with my color settings.
So always make sure that you are aligning where the FC is asking you to, because I could have warped us to a tactical bookmark at UTAC Q. So if you would have warped yourself, you might end up at 0 and the rest of the fleet ends up at 150 kilometers from the gate. And so if the enemy was at the gate, you would die without your friends. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. We're going to go back to the Bravo Tech 3 gate. So everybody, or the Victor Tech 3 gate. So everybody go back to the Victor Tech 3. Wait, align back to the Victor Tech 3. And align. Helps if I align. So with aligns, even though I had you align at the gate, we're now going to end up at a tactical. See, our friend Narca would die horribly to the fleet at 0. Or just jump.
And often does.
So you can also get a cold warp, which is what I've just done here. Cold warp is when the FC warps the fleet. This might be done in emergency, might be because he changed his mind, but they might say, I'm going to give you a little bit of a cold warp, which means you have a second to align, or just do what I did.
Sorry, Doc was about.
What about this dude in local?
Alright, the gate is green on land. Alright, this is our current coalition staging, is UTAC-Q. We have a keep star here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to align to the keep star. And I'm going to get us a bridge back. We're going to set up jump clones if you have jump clones available, so that you can jump here if there's a big fleet going out. And while you're doing that, I'm going to try to get Liana to give us a bridge. Do I still have that Sino available?
If need be, I can pod myself back to G and let off, I think.
I'll love my ult in 1 minute.
Alright, so this is UTAC-Q. You should have a jump clone set up here. So to do that, go ahead and dock. Then you're going to find the clone bay on the right. Looks like a coffin. And if you should have a jump clone installed. If you don't have the skills, it's Infomorph Psychology. I'll link that. And getting higher level Infomorph Psychology and advanced Infomorph Psychology is a good idea, because the first skill lets you have more jump clones. Second skill lets you use them more often. The third skill lets you have even more jump clones. So having these helps you jump around if you need to move things, or if there is a fleet in 68 FT, which is another staging, or UTAC-Q, then you'll have the availability. If you get Infomorph synchronization up to 4, I think that gets you to 18 hours or 19 hours of jump clone. So like I play a couple hours every day or so I can use my jump clone once a day, no problem. Your death clone would be in GEHAV. If we were in a war setting, and say a defensive war, we might have our death clones in UTAC-Q. So at any time during the day, if we needed to, we could come back here. But right now we're just doing jump clones. Let me check the Coalition military update here. So on the forums, if you're not on the forums, that's usually where a lot of the military updates about what kind of ships you should have where. Oh, it does say we should have a medical clone in UTAC-Q. I do not right now. So right now in UTAC-Q we have Eagles, Feroxes, Harpies, and Bombers. So if you can fly those ships or any of those support ships, then you should have them available here in UTAC-Q. In GAJV, you'll have Maelstroms, Hurricanes, Jackdaws, Caracals, Moas, Talwars, and Entosis boats. And in 68 FT, Feroxes, and Harpies. To give you an example of to find different ships, let's look at the Harpy fleet. If you open your fitting window, it's Alt-F. You can type in Harpy. You have to have the little wrench selected in the browser. You can type in Harpy, and this will show you support. So this is the Harpy Heavy Tackle, and this is. So if you type it in the fleet name, it'll often find the different doctrine ships available. So that's the actual Harpy and the actual Kirin, which is the logistics. And then Tackle and Ewar would be welcome on those fleets as well. So once you've set up your medical clone, go ahead and undock. Or your jump clone.
Sounded so much fun.
I've got the sign ready.
All right. So everybody needs to, once you undock, you want to keep at range 1000 on the Titan. So it's the Ragnarok here. I will broadcast it. I won't broadcast it as a target. Liana might not appreciate that. So it's broadcast as 1. So what you want to do is you want to keep it range 1000. You don't want to bump the Titan. It makes them nervous. So it's good just to slow boat up there. sometimes you might get, if you come up immediately after you undock, you might actually bump into the structure, and you'll have to pilot yourself around by double-clicking in space to not do that. You can also warp up to a tactical above the keep star, which I'll do myself. And then you can warp down towards the Titan. I'm going to warp at 10, and then I'll approach to 1,000 meters. And don't put your prop mod on when you're approaching the Titan, because that can make the bump worse. All right, so a Titan has the capability to do what's called bridging, and it makes a jump portal to a Cyno beacon, which we'll see shortly on the other side. And to do that, what's going to happen is the Cyno is going to get lit, and the Titan will activate jump. And then we're going to right click and jump through, or you can left click and it's the top one, jump through. So Liana, are you in comms?
I am, sir.
So it looks like Tomashkis has the Cyno lit. Go ahead and bridge when you're ready.
Alright, bridge is lit. Right click and Titan, jump through.
So we're going to go ahead and jump through.
This is time limited, guys. You only have how many or so to get through.
Yeah, if you miss... So now you've taken your first Titan bridge, which is good because a lot of people miss their first one. And if you miss your second one, it happens. Don't worry about it. But hopefully now that you've taken one, you won't miss the next one. So you can see the Cynos are lit here. So this is actually what a Cyno has to be lit for us to jump through. Dylan, you have to right click, jump through, or when you're within 2,500 meters, you right click, jump through, or you left click, jump through.
Radial menu and up also is a good idea.
Yeah, I use the radial menu, which is left click. And you...
I'm sorry, can I just jump in 1 second? There's a new mechanic, guys. So right now you are not tethered, you are not safe. If there were hostiles here, they could freely kill us. And
Yes.
you'll see that just above your
You
capacitor.
have invulnerability though, for 15 seconds.
This is true. Yes, that's true.
So right now we're unable to tether, so we could be shot. So when you do jump through, it's a good idea to go ahead and dock up. Dylan, did you make it through? So when we are bridging into combat, it's often a good idea. You need to be on the ball and jump through immediately because the Cyno could be killed on the other side. So then the fleet could get split. There might not be much chance. So you just need to be ready as soon as it say jump through. Liana, do you know how long it actually stays active if everything's okay?
30 seconds, mate.
You mean the Cyno or the bridge?
The bridge.
The bridge is 30 seconds. You can relight a bridge fairly easily. It only uses strong, so it's kind of cheap. Most Titan pilots will happily light a second or third bridge if there's more people that have to come through.
And
I think the Cynos stay for like 5 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. Incidentally, guys, they are also on your overview. Cynos, so when a Cyno gets lit, even if it's a hostile Cyno, it'll show up on your overview and you can warp directly to it. I strongly advise against it, though.
Sleuth Panic, do you know what to do, my friend?
No, I found the Titan, but am I supposed to like right click on the cynospherical field and I'm supposed to be able to
No. You right click on my ship. You right click on Jules' ship. Hang on, let me load the bridge again. On the actual ship itself. Yep. It has a special Stargate thing. Right click it.
I don't have a jump.
Be able to jump through.
I don't have a jump option.
When you right click my ship, it should say jump
through to GE.
Oh, okay. Now, okay.
Yeah, you have to be within 2,500 meters.
Or you won't see the option at all.
All right, so once you've jumped through, you'll notice that you have fatigue. So that's in the upper left-hand corner. the jump reactivation timer or red timer means you can't use a jump gate or jump yourself if you're in a capital ship or take a Titan bridge. The blue timer has a maximum of 5 hours, but what it does is if that blue timer starts stacking up each time you take a jump, and it'll make the red timer last longer for each as it clicks up. So the first red timer is 10 minutes, and then it goes up from there.
I believe it stops counting at 24 hours now, I think. The red timer. It used to go on for ages. It used to go on for months and months and months, but they kept it.
Oh yeah, now the jump fatigue timer, the blue is only 5 hours, and the red is 30 minutes max.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, much different. So that's the basic Fleet 101 class. Hopefully you guys heard a lot of terminology that'll make fleets less confusing. If you have any questions, now's a good time.
I do. You were mentioning being able to hotkey broadcasts?
Yeah.
Alright, I'd like to be able to make a hotkey to broadcast my shields.
Sure, let's go for that. Okay, so go ahead and hit escape. This is tough because I have to do my push to talk and then press the buttons.
I can.
Then you do go to shortcuts, and it's once you're at shortcuts, it's the navigation tab, and all the broadcasts are there. So broadcast need shield is probably the most important one.
Beautiful.
And I use tilde, but do something close to your push to talk. All right, so that's the end of the class. I'll be around in the day and always ask questions in Dojo. If you guys need more ships, I can do ship handouts as well.
Thank you, FC.
Thank you, FC. Will the broadcast for shields work if my fleet window is not open?
Yes.
Wonderful.
But I would highly recommend having the fleet window open at all times when in fleet, because you will see the broadcast of FC, and in confusion you might not hear some align command or something, or the target command, and you will clearly see this in your fleet window.
I've been used to seeing it in my right-hand overview, and I didn't know that there was like a fleet history of broadcast and everything, so this was a great class.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, the other thing with the broadcast histories, it does help quite a lot. I mean, as Jinx was saying earlier about filtering out results, I mean, I fly mostly like pure DPS, so I have like no logi stuff on my history tab, which means it's really easy.
You can color code it too.
So I have mine also. I have all my targets set to red. So whenever like FC broadcasts a target, it'll come up in a thing. So like 3 red lines, and then I just literally hold control and just go click, click, click.
Yeah.
And then it locks and then it'll lock all 3 targets in order.
Yep.
Well, hopefully.
So
go ahead.
If it comes to color coding, it's good to make shields blue. All the navigation stuff like aligning warp to commands as white, for example, and red as targets, and this way you'll always know what's going on.
Fair.
And can you control click in the fleet history window?
Yes.
Beautiful.
So
that's a good one.
That's why you have to color code it, so that you know that red things you just control click and you get the enemies. And if you are logi or want to see what's the HP of our target, you can control click it and you will see our friendly target.
Right.
Just don't make a mistake and shoot friendly targets. If you don't really trust yourself, just remove this broadcast from your filter.
One more thing that I think Jinx might have just glossed over was flagging exit from Fleet Warp. That's on the Hamburg menu as well in the fleet window. So if, say, an FC turns around to you and say, like, oh, Dominix, can you flag exit from Fleet Warp? It's not that he doesn't want you on the fleet. It's just that it might be a bit too big for the warp, so it might slow everyone else down. In which case, you just go to the Hamburg menu in fleet, and it'll say, flag exit from Fleet Warp. Click that, and then you won't take any Fleet Warps. And then if you click it again, it
This
doesn't
is
work.
also very useful if you are in a small ship and you don't want to be moved. For example, if you are burning tax around the structure and FC is relocating the fleet, you don't want to be taken from your TAC every time. You just flag exempt from fleet warp and you do your stuff, and FC is moving the rest of the fleet, the combat ships and logi, right?
Good job.
And the FC is boss. And so if he's asking for caracals and you're trying to bring your Cerberus and he says, I don't want that, then he's the boss.
Yeah. Yes.
But having said that, feel free to join up fleets. Sorry, feel free to join up fleets whenever you see them. Like tackle is almost always wanted, so an Atron or something is almost always useful. It's only really bombers that don't use it, to be honest.
T1 tackle, T1 E-War. If you can fly Griffin, if you can fly
Crucifiers,
Crucifiers, Griffins, Crucifier, Griffin, Mollusk. Yeah, basically anything that has a point on it. Like, can go pretty quick and like hold something down. Like, as long as you can hold it down for like a couple of seconds, so the FC can then warp to you as you die. That's good because you just won the fight for us. I mean, you died, but it's happened.
You can also do the clear history on the top right, which is nice, like between engagements to do. I've never pointed that out.